take you through our performance for the quarter ending 31 December 2023 and give you a bit of a sense of what we're looking out for in terms of investment strategy for 2024. As is customary, we start with our disclosures. Lunar Capital is an authorized financial services provider, and we need to obviously put this disclaimer out there and the disclosures. So it's important that you understand that. So let's take a quick look at the numbers. And if you look at our performance for 1 year, the Lunar BCI Worldwide Flexible Fund had a performance of 33%, for the year. And over 3 years, we had an average of 10.71% per annum, giving a total return of 35.68%. And over the 5 years, an 84.5% return, giving you a return of 13.04%. So certainly over the long period and the short period, we are well within our target, which is to provide our investors with a performance of inflation plus 5%. As can be seen, the context for 2023, the JSE performed marginally above 5%. The Nasdaq was really the outstar performer, about 43%, and the MSC World Index gave a 24.42% return. The ZAR or the Rand basically depreciated about 8.64% over the period. So you can see Lunar really did incredibly well over this period, taking advantage, particularly of some of our investments in the Nasdaq market, but also outside of that. So, how did this performance come through? Basically, we follow our investment philosophy, which is that we want to be owners of quality businesses with high growth potential and significant competitive advantage. So that's really what we look for. So what's the competitive advantage that we look for? Basically, I'm going to take you through, the way that we try and look for that. Okay. So firstly, we really try and identify some of the mega trends that are taking place. So for example, people are living longer, our populations are getting older, there's a lot of technology innovations, the energy crisis and climate change is driving certain strategies, in terms of trying to create innovation for efficiency and trying to reduce the impact on the climate, with the fossil fuel industry. What we're also finding is really some very good innovations taking place in treating some of the modern diseases like obesity and heart disease, as well as diabetes. And certainly as generations come through, the younger generations, which is the millennials and the Generation Z or Gen Z, as they call them, their values are different. For example, they come through as digital natives, and the way that they go about doing things, or buying products or going through experiences, they do that very differently to some of the older generations, and those actually start driving, growth in certain companies and in certain industries. So we look for those trends, and these are the ones that we've kind of identified that take us through that. So looking at that, we try and identify which companies that are there, and then we value that, okay, over risk of over a range of measures, and including trying to understand some of the risks that are associated with those businesses. And then we basically create a short list of companies that we want to be invested in. We overlay that basically with what we call some of our kind of macro views. So in other words, what's happening in the world. Are interest rates too high? Are interest rates coming down? Trade wars. So for example, we see a lot of geopolitical and trade war pressures at this particular point in time, and we feel that could in some ways be a bit of a dampener in terms of the markets, but in some areas, for example in cybersecurity, we see that as an opportunity for us to be invested in. We see, for example, interest rates. We have seen that interest rates are very high for a long period of time because of high inflation. And we expect that interest rates will be coming down. But in some ways, we feel that the market is expecting that to be too early. So we are a little bit more cautious about being too bullish about quick interest rate reductions. Okay. The other aspect that we're seeing is that there is a level of greed in the market. So in other words, people are thinking that inflation is going to come down very quickly, interest rates will come down very fast, and that will have a positive impact in the market. And if that's true, that absolutely is correct. But if that isn't true, we could see that the current valuations in the market may be a bit too high. But at the same time, we always see that there are specific sectors that can provide us with opportunities. And similarly, the contrary to that would be in certain sectors, we see potential risks. Obviously, elections in South Africa, in the US, in the UK, in India, that could also have an impact, and we kind of overlay that in terms of our view. So basically, our view when we start constructing our portfolios, in the Lunar BCI Worldwide Flexible Fund, we're looking to have between 65 to 75% offshore. We like to have a bit of cash in this level of market. So in other words, we're seeing sort of moderate risk in the market, and that's why we think we should be sitting with about 20% in cash. But the sectors that we are liking, that we want to be invested in, is in technology, in biotechnology, in financial services, in the athleisure and fast fashion environment, in cybersecurity, and some of the energy technology companies. So you'll see, some of that coming through just now in the way that we want to be invested in. So let's take a look at that one. So what are some of these companies that we are invested in? So for example, Berkshire Hathaway, we don't see it as a technology company because it's Warren Buffett, but actually, he's a very large investor, for example, in Apple. And we see that as a cheap entry into a company like Apple. And it's also got a lot of energy and other value businesses underlying those portfolios. And he's a legendary investor as well. So, we like that, and we see that as a potential for us to be invested in. The F and OP basically just says that we are invested in that in the fund, as well as in our offshore portfolios that we manage on behalf of our clients. ASML and NVIDIA in the semiconductor industry, that's a big play for us, artificial intelligence. And then obviously, driving these values that the younger generation are looking for, which is more online, more digitalization. Businesses are driving towards that. So we see that continuing to play out, in the markets. UBS, a large Swiss bank, actually more than a bank, a wealth manager. So they actually, manage more than $1 trillion, of people's money. And people that, as they get older, they have retirement funds and they look for homes to be, to be invested in. And UBS provides them with that. And we think it is an undervalued business because it's been valued like a bank, and actually it should be valued like a wealth manager. Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, businesses that we've talked about before. Actually, all of them we have been invested in the last quarter already. Okay, so you can see we don't do very much changes in our portfolios. But anyway, Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, obesity and diabetes play. Okay, I mean the demand for these products are incredible, and they haven't even been available in all markets. So we still see that as potentially a big growth area. Shoprite, local company, only invested in the fund because in the offshore portfolios we don't invest in South African companies. A great business that leverages technology for competitive advantage. Okay, and then obviously with some of their products and their innovations like the 60/60, yes, and you've seen some of the other guys copying that as well, and you will see that one. But they continue to provide innovative kind of products, and services for their clients. So we really like that business, and it's been a great performer for us, in the fund. Microsoft, everyone knows that, right? It's on everyone's desk. Actually, I'm recording this on a Microsoft product. Okay, so and also they recently the acquisition of a stake in OpenAI, puts them completely into the space of artificial intelligence. And we like Microsoft, we like Apple because those are platform type businesses. Amazon is another one that we're invested in, which I haven't listed here. Okay. So those are businesses that we like because they create platforms. And once people belong to a platform, it's hard for them to move away from that particular platform. Lastly, with the geopolitical kind of environment that we find ourselves in, as well as more online purchases, more businesses going online, cybersecurity plays a big role, and that gives us investments, for example, in CrowdStrike and Palo Alto. So that's basically how we try and kind of take these mega trends, and then eventually decide on which kind of companies we want to be invested in. And last year, you can see the kind of growth that we got, out of taking, this level of strategy. So let's take the Lunar BCI Worldwide Flexible Fund, right? So at the moment, about 66% of the fund is invested offshore, and we would like to be somewhere between 55 and 75%. So as the rand kind of strengthens, we try to take a bit more money offshore, and that will take us closer to the 70-75%. But you can see that 54% of the portfolio is invested basically in large cap companies, 14% in medium cap, and 6% in small cap. So really, reasonably kind of conservative kind of allocation in terms of size of business. And then approximately 26% of that cash, which gives you in total 100% of cash, of that is in cash and bonds. Okay. So 23.5% is in technology, 12% in healthcare. We probably would like to do maybe a little bit more in healthcare. So we would be looking for opportunities to acquire more businesses or increase our stake in the existing ones like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. In the financials and asset management, catering for the aging population, we've got about 23% in there. In the consumer sector, we've got Walmart, ShopRite, Lululemon, and that's Lululemon also it's in the athleisure space. So we see that as a great opportunity. And then in energy, we've got 3 companies, which is Glencore, an energy ETF, and Phase, and there's a small percentage of our portfolio, in the energy space. So that gives you a sense of how we've allocated our portfolio. On the offshore side, so what we do for our clients offshore, similarly, we have a strategy where we say, what are sort of large to medium cap kind of businesses, high quality businesses, potential for growth. Again, taking into account what are the themes that are driving some of those changes. Okay, so there you go. Very similar businesses, ones that we don't have. For example, in the fund, a company called Louis Vuitton, LVMH, Inditex, which is actually Zara, or the owners of Zara. And one of the reasons we are invested in that, remember we talked about Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, treating obesity. So as people lose weight, guess what do they need to do? They need to buy new clothes. Okay, and which kind of companies do we think will benefit from that? So it will be companies like Inditex, which is Zara, and Lululemon. So that's why we are invested in businesses like that. Okay. Other businesses, we've got Adyen, which is a fintech company based in Holland, has some great clients like Starbucks, for example. All Starbucks businesses use Adyen, for their payments processing. So really a great kind of business. Okay. We recently invested. One of the new investments that we've had is Alibaba. We've seen a lot of value there. There's a lot of negative sentiment around China, but at the end of the day, we're starting to see some level of good valuations, and it's good for us to sort of take small positions in these to start taking advantage of these low valuations. Companies like Snowflake, which is in the data space, it's also in the fund, by the way, and those businesses will provide actually the core information that these AI agents need, to be able to provide these predictive kind of information that people and companies are starting to use. Okay, so I mean that's where we see. We're also saying that in the regional sector, we're really looking at Europe, Japan, India, and China, and in some of them the valuations are good and it's good to get in. In some of them there's growth potential, but the valuations are high. So sometimes we start nibbling in those areas, to get us to a position. So that gives you a sense of where we are invested in, and where we will continue to be invested in, so playing through those themes that we are looking at. Okay. So last but not least, really, just to remind you of our strategy, learn, invest, enjoy. We are real evangelists for investing. We like to share our insights, in terms of how to invest, where to be invested in, through blogs, through these presentations, through our weekly stock take. We've had the youth league. We do the balance sheet for families. So if anyone's looking for assistance in trying to guide them on the investment journey, we would definitely recommend you come and speak to us, and we can help you create a family balance sheet that gives you some level of guidance as to how much you should be investing offshore versus locally. Do you have sufficient funding for your retirement, etc. Just a reminder, we have the two products that we have, which is the Lunar BCI Worldwide Flexible Fund, debit order minimum of 1,000 rands a month, or lump sum, or you can do both, right? The lump sum is 10,000 minimum, but you could do both. And then the direct offshore portfolio management in partnership with some large local and international financial institutions with a minimum of 500,000 rand. And that's a really great product if you're looking for an opportunity to take money offshore and have that and have that in your own name. So that's really great product. So please come and speak to us, and we can tell you more about the product itself. So really, at the end of the day, why do we do this? We enjoy it. We get a kick out of helping people and impacting them positively, whether it's through directly on their financials, or getting them to understand the importance of investing for the long term. So on that, I'd like to thank you, and here's some telephone numbers if you need to contact us. And just a reminder that we are a registered financial services provider in South Africa, and our FSP number is 46567, and there's my details. You can phone me 083 305 7860, and if you want to contact our office, info@lunarcapital.co.za. Thank you.